And hello, everyone. It's Kelly Coates Gilbert. She's reading tonight, broadcasting from Dallas, Texas. And I will tell you right now that we've had a little bit of weather warning. Now, we don't have any violent weather yet, but they've predicted that there is a storm front coming through. So if all of a sudden we go away or all of a sudden the internet starts going wonky, that's why. But I am so tickled because I've been working for weeks, months actually, to try to get one of my favorite women's fiction authors on with us, Annie Cabot. We met, well, first of all, I'm a fan. I've read all of her Captive Island series, except probably, I think, the last two. I don't think I've read the last two. But I read those long before I met her. And then last year at NINC in Florida, we ended up meeting and getting to sit and visit. And I was so delighted. I mean, I was kind of fangirling all over. It was so fun to meet somebody who'd written the novels that I love. So I'm really excited to introduce her to you. She's a women's fiction and family saga writer, just like me. I mean, we write almost alike, I think. She loves to travel, and she has these reviews. People have said that they love the characters and how they interact with each other. And I would ditto that, because you create such amazing characters, people that I just feel are friends and family when I get done reading one of your books. So I agree with that reviewer. Another one says, such a fun read. And I agree with that one as well. This gal said she finished it in 2 days, and your books aren't small. And then another one, she just said one word: breathtaking. So welcome, Annie. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you so much, Kelly. I'm glad to be here.
I want to know just a little bit about you. We've chatted several times. In fact, we're both hosting authors in my book friends. For any of you who are members over there, what days do you host over there?
Fridays. Tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. Oh, good. Well, I'm every other Monday. And so we host with there's 12 total. So there's 10 other authors other than Annie and I. And we host over at my book friends, which is just really fun. And so you might want to go see her over there. But and for those of you who are members, you probably know her a little bit through her posts. But let's go ahead and start and let us know a little bit about your writing history. Did you always know you wanted to be a writer? And how did you come to this profession?
Oh, well, it was certainly not something that was planned. But, when I was a kid, I had a very interesting background, really, because I was unfortunately one of those kids that was given up for adoption at an older age. So I was probably about 6 years old when my mother brought myself and my siblings to an orphanage, said she was going to go out and get her coat and be right back, and never returned after our father had left her with 4 children. So it was not easy, but then I spent several years in foster homes and then after the orphanage. And I think honestly that I created a lot of stories just to keep myself happy, an opportunity to kind of change my environment. And if it was only in my head, then it didn't matter. At least it helped me get through. So that was sort of the beginnings of creating stories and making things up.
But why your books are such a wonderful escape, because I do feel that when you delve into your stories, you forget the world you're in and you're in a whole nother world. So
right. And you can imagine for a little girl like that, that would be very necessary. And so, but after that, I got adopted. I was 9 years old, had a wonderful family. I've been very, very, very lucky. But I studied to be a concert pianist growing up because I was adopted into a family of musicians. Who would ever have imagined that? And I have to tell, this is such a funny story, but it was probably around the 8th grade when it was maybe 5 minutes before English class, and I had not done my homework, and I was sent, which was not an unusual thing, not the best student. And I was in the cafeteria, and I said, "Oh my gosh, I didn't do the homework. What's the homework? What was the homework?" Well, It was either write a short story or a poem. Since I only had 5 minutes, I think you can guess which one I picked. So I wrote a poem. And surprisingly, I knew nothing of this, but my teacher entered it into a contest that I won at first prize. And then she announced it on the loudspeaker. So, and I got $5, which as an 8th grader, that was huge. I had no money of my own. So that was a big deal. But again, these were just one-off things. They were, you know, there was no plan to be an author someday. As a matter of fact, as I got older, I even with the piano, I kind of abandoned the idea of doing concert work because it's much like entering the Olympics. You don't do anything else. This is your whole life. And I, at 17 years old, found that there were a lot of other things I could focus on. But at the same time, you know, my parents kept saying, you know, you get a real job, get out there in the world. So again, never thought about I'm going to be an author or I'm going to get on a journey to be an author, with one exception. I would go to the bookstore, usually Barnes and Noble back then. I would go to the bookstore, and every year, I don't know if you remember this book, but the Writer's Market book.
Yeah.
Writer's Market book, like this fat. And I would just look in and see what publishers wanted, what other authors were doing, advice on how to get an agent, all of these things. I never did anything. I just read the Writer's Market book every year and then went to my real job. So for 12 years, I worked in the phone company, the local phone company. All the while, I would come home and then I would teach piano to students. And then I went from the phone company into the finance world. Again, still teaching piano in the evenings. And one thing led to another. And then I had 60 piano students every week. And so I stopped working any other job and just taught piano full time. And then I started dabbling in creating some stories in my head again and writing them down and journaling and doing those kinds of things. And then I managed to talk a friend into co-authoring with me, writing fiction. We were both of us were doing some writing on the side, nonfiction stuff. We were sort of writers for hire, both doing this. And I said, "What do you think about doing fiction?" And she said, "What? You know, I don't do that." I said, "Well, why don't we try?" And so for several years, we wrote paranormal mystery books under the pen name Juliet Harper. And it was just a great experience. I also didn't have confidence about my writing ability. And that experience gave me confidence to do this. And so I sort of, you know, it was not a direct, it was sort of this thing that was way in the back of my head while I went off and did everything else.
Those little silent heart dreams that just reside.
Right. That's exactly what it was. But unfortunately, not a belief that I could do it, you know, like it just almost like I was resigned to the dream. It was okay, I'll just have this dream. But eventually
becoming an author wasn't, it was pretty elusive, you know?
Right. Yes, absolutely. And the idea to get paid for writing, you know, it was okay when we were doing nonfiction. That made sense. But to get paid, that someone would want to buy a story that I might make up, how could that be? It would just never seem possible. And then when we stopped writing Juliet Harper and went off to do our own separate things, Annie Cabot was born, and I started writing from my heart and the things that I wanted to get on paper. And I've been so fortunate. There are people that want to read what I have to share.
Well, and you do, I mean, I've read so many of them, and you do such a really good job of touching on the really heartfelt issues, relationships. You're really good at developing character. So I wanted, you know, the author part of me especially wanted to know what your process was for creating characters. Do you plan them on paper first, or do they just come to you? Do you pull an image and create a character from an image, or what do you do to create your characters? Because they are so deep and realistic.
Right. The truth is no, I don't have an image, and with a few exceptions, I have had a few characters that someone else has come to mind, either someone I knew or an actress or an actor. But most of the time, no. What happens is this person materializes from the emotions, from the feelings that I'm actually feeling. I mean, I'm this journey of writing, and as the reader is reading it, it's my journey too, as I'm writing it. And so the person I create the person. It's a little like not very scientific, I guess, but it's yeah. I mean, I don't have
Which
images.
of your characters is the most like you?
Oh gosh, I thought about this before today because I wonder if she'll ask me that, because that is the kind of question that I would ask someone. And the person who was most like me, I didn't take much to think about this. Chelsea Marsden. Chelsea is this snarky, always comes back with has dry humor, comes back with a quick retort that isn't always appropriate. Yeah, I would say Chelsea. Chelsea is, and there's so much more to Chelsea that's coming out in the coming books, and I can't wait to share that. Yeah.
Which of your characters do your readers love to hate?
Oh gosh. Well, I would say it's a very easy choice in the Periwinkle Shores series that takes place in Cape Cod. There are three sisters and their father, Silas. There really are no redeeming characteristics or qualities about that man. So Silas in that book. In the Captiva series, I would say it's not that they hate, annoy. They might feel annoyed by Linda St. James because she's sort of a busybody, nosy, gossipy.
We all know one of those.
But even the characters that that might annoy my readers, and they annoy me. There's always something lovely and soft about the person that will come out eventually. Evil is a whole other thing, and that's Silas, but not Linda. Linda's just annoying.
Yeah. Well, we're getting some people here and commenting, and some of you, we don't know who you are because you have to give permission to Facebook and StreamYard to talk to one another so that your name appears. So if you want to do that, go ahead. But otherwise, just know that we don't know exactly who you are if it says Facebook user. But thank you for being here tonight. I really appreciate it. And we'll go ahead and continue to ask our friend Annie all about her writing journey. I want to know what about being an author gives you the most joy?
Oh, easy. Interacting and connecting with my readers. This is huge. I actually didn't, it's a surprise to me, honestly. I feel like I have this family that has grown. It's just every single day I'm talking to someone who either has a question about the story or about me. But in general, I'm getting so many who are just thanking me and how it's making their life better in some way, which is, I mean, it's enough to, it really,
it takes your breath away. Some emails that you get it takes your breath away. When you realize that you're having that kind of connection. And this might be a good time to tell people how they can connect with you. Do you have a reader group?
I'm going to be starting a reader group.
Oh, good.
In the next month or two, I will be starting a reader group. I waited until I felt like people might want to join it, that there might be enough people who might actually want a reader group, an Annie Cabot reader group. So yes, look for that.
But until then, you are on My Book Friends, so people can connect there.
Yes, and they can always go to my website too, which is anniecabot.com, and you can get in touch with me through there as well. Yeah.
And you have a newsletter list, I'm imagining.
I do. Yes.
Good,
And
good.
so
And they can sign up off your website?
they can.
Good,
Yes,
good.
absolutely.
So we asked you about your deepest joy. What are the core themes of your books? I mean, if a reader was to just read all your books, they'd close the last page, what would they say was a common theme throughout almost all of your writing that depicts who you are as a writer?
I
will answer because I've read a lot of them, but I would say that a one-word answer for me would be family. I mean, you really do family.
Yes. It's not a coincidence that someone who lost a lot of family at a young age. I mean, I remember also thinking and telling everyone that I was going to have 12 children. I was going to have this big family because I had lost so many siblings that had gone off to be adopted in other families. I had lost a mother and a father separately. And so, it's not a surprise at all that you feel that way because the other thing I guess I would say about all this is that, and I set out to do this very thing. When I write every single book that I write, and my husband, by the way, is the first person to read chapter by chapter as I go.
Oh.
And he'll kill me that this is being recorded, but if I'm not getting a lump, if he's not getting a lump in his throat, or I don't hear him laughing out loud, then I'll go, okay, I haven't gotten there yet. I'm not there yet. I want to touch people, and we all have so much in common. Regardless, I mean, there are people who have never had to be adopted or lose their family and have been together forever, but still we're all going through, there's divorce, there's fertility issues, there's marriage, there's grandchildren, there's loss, there's so much, loss and illness, and there's a lot. And why not connect?
And look at this comment that I just threw up on there.
Oh my gosh. I was adopted.
When you say that you have something in common with readers, how remarkable is that?
I know. That is incredible. That's wonderful.
Facebook user, we don't know who you are. So if you want to just type what your name is, first name, so that Annie will know who you are, that would be nice. Because you do have a lot in common. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, so I mean, I myself have experienced not just that, but even as an adult, a lot of things that, I've had fertility issues. I've been divorced. I've been ill. There are so many of us that I think in the world in general benefit from searching, looking for the commonalities, finding a way to connect. And if my books are doing that, and hopefully I am making you laugh. I don't want everyone to be crying all the time, but
it's your world that you create is so immersive, and it's not a dark place at all. It's a lovely place, a place to escape to. And you get those relationship connections with your characters. It's just a love. I mean, the Captivity series, there's 10 books in the series?
Yes, I'm working on the Captiva series. There are 10. I'm working on the 11th right now. And then I have a new series that will come out this year that will take place in Key West. And there will be a lot more that will take place on the Cape Cod series, which is the Periwinkle Shores series. And those sisters have a lot.
And I want to just draw your name up. Rosanna is the girl who posted that she was also adopted.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Rosanna.
I think I saw Rosanna the other night on another video with my book friends, if I remember right. So
cool.
Nice to see you again. And Diane Robinson is here. She's a great supporter of us, and she's over at my book friends quite often. Diane, you will not go wrong in reading Annie Cabot. There's a reason that I really wanted to invite her here, because I've really loved her books. And so that series is, there's 10 books. So you can just, delve in.
There will be 14. in the series. It will end at the 14th book, which, by the way, was not originally planned either. I thought that at 6 books I would be done. And it was all really due to the readers that I'm still on that. They just didn't want it to stop. And I said, I do have a lot more to say if you want to hear.
Well, Diane just posted, she says, can't wait. Where do I start? So where does a new reader start on your series?
How about the very first book in the Captiva Island series is called Key Lime Garden Inn.
Yeah.
And this is
and tell the viewers a little bit about the setting, about Captiva, and how you travel there and how realistic that is.
Yeah. So my cousin actually has a home in Fort Myers, and we had started every February going to her place. There was like a girls' trip because her husband's an accountant, and he was way too busy in February to do any traveling. So we hightailed it out and had a girls' trip every year. And one thing led to another. I would start going over to Captiva Island with my husband, and I said, oh, this place is incredible. And so I would continue to travel over there. And we've been going for years. And then the Hurricane Ian hit a few years ago and really devastated both Sanibel and Captiva. And we've gone back to see how things are progressing on their recovery. And we will continue to go back and travel to Captiva, but they're having a hard time. It's a slow process. It was quite a devastation. Yeah. Yeah. What a beautiful island.
So one of the things that I love about the new StreamYard is because people can post their comments, but if you guys have any questions for Annie, go ahead and post them and I'll make sure they get answered. In the meantime, this is an isolating business. What do you do to connect with other authors, and who's your writing tribe, and how do you connect and stay from getting, in your office by yourself all the time?
Well, first of all, I'm a new grandmother. And so as a new grandmother, I'm watching a child twice a week. My husband and I do that together. My husband's retired, and that takes up a little bit of my time. But, to be honest with you, first of all, I have a few authors that I communicate with here and there that are just sort of starting out and are, I guess I'm being something of a mentor for them. And then, my book friends group has been fantastic.
Yeah.
I've just loved, it's been really wonderful. As I mentioned, tomorrow, I'll be posting a few times in that group. It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Those authors in there, Kay Bratt and Tammy Grace kind of run that thing, and boy, they just do a good job. And the readers, are just lovely. And there's like 18,000 members. It's just the most incredible thing that they, it's grown every year. And so for some of you who may not know this, we've got a spring reading fever event coming up in My Book Friends. It's going to be the middle of May. So make sure you go over to My Book Friends and check that out. Most of us will be posting on our social media soon about it, but it's going to be several days of posts and opportunities to win books and other reading kinds of things. So make sure you join us for that. Absolutely. And let's just take a look here to make sure that I've got, the one question I do always like to ask, are you a pantser or a plotter? And those of you who are with me here at She's Reading know that a pantser writes by the seat of her pants, and a plotter takes out her pen and pencil and pre-plans. So which are you?
I'm going to call myself a hybrid. Does that exist? I am something of a, sort of an outline that a guide for me. But always, with my books, every single character is on a journey. So if whoever is happening in that particular book, because all the characters, so many of them, and they're not in every single book, they start at the beginning of the book with one way of thinking or one belief system. a whole history of what they've been through in their life. And by the end of the book, they will have evolved and grown.
You know, that's what I love to say. That is, to me, the definition of women's fiction. It's relationships, sure, can have some romance, sure, but primarily it's about those characters that come in one way and they leave changed. And it's the events in the story that change them.
Absolutely. Now, a few of my characters are taking a couple of books to evolve and change into who they need to be. Well, they all do, I guess, technically. But I know what's happening at the beginning of the book, and I know where I want them to be at the end of the book. The pantsing part is happening in the middle, and I go for the ride.
Yeah. Well, it's a delicious ride, and you know, as a reader, I appreciate so much the time and effort that you take to craft those stories because they're beautiful. And a little birdie told me that you are going to give away a book tonight.
I am. I'm going to give away The Key Lime Garden in a signed copy.
A signed physical copy. So I know that some of you in here prefer print copies. So this is your opportunity. And the way you're going to win is anyone that's here tonight, anyone that comments, Annie is going to just randomly go back onto Facebook when we're done. She'll answer all your questions. If there's any pending questions or a question that you want to post, she will answer those, and I'll go on there too. And then she'll choose someone. And then in the morning, do you want to go on in the?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, how about noon tomorrow?
Okay. Noon tomorrow, she will come on and put a comment of who the winner is. And then you will, you know, arrange with her to get that from her. You'll have to give an address, of course. And somebody's going to get lucky and get that very first book in the series. So,
I should probably mention that would be noon Eastern.
Noon Eastern. Yeah. And I think, you know, maybe I'm wrong, but it's probably limited to the United States since she's doing it.
Yes.
Yeah. Otherwise, we've learned the hard way, haven't we? That we've had to ship to Sri Lanka at $55. I've done that.
Yes.
I've learned not to do that. As much as I love my Sri Lanka readers, that's expensive.
If that happens, maybe we can do a book funnel ebook instead or something. I don't know. But no, for now, it's a paperback signed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, you know, I want to remind you guys to go over to anniecabot.com, right?
Yes.
And there are places there that you can find her on Facebook and Goodreads and probably BookBub, and you can sign up for her newsletter. Lots of places to connect with her. So make sure that you do all that. And then post any questions that you have here. But before we go, I always kind of end with this, and these are some rapid fire questions, this or that.
Okay.
So, and it'll help us to get you to know you at a little different level. So, chocolate or vanilla?
Vanilla.
Pie or cake?
Pie.
Beer or wine?
Beer.
Stilettos or flip-flops?
Oh, flip-flops.
I knew that one. Yeah. Dawn or sunset?
Sunset.
Swimming or walking?
No floating, huh? Okay, walking.
Okay. Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Yeah. Cook or takeout?
Cook.
Really? Oh, what do you like to cook?
I would prefer. I wish I had more time to do more cooking, but yes. I have more cookbooks than Barnes and Noble. I have more cookbooks than they do.
Yeah. Do you have a special dish that you're known for?
You know, well, my lasagna is pretty good. Yeah.
Ooh, yum. Well, if I'm in Florida, I'm going to come to your house for some lasagna. Campground or resort?
Oh, resort.
Yep. And then the last one, flowers or massage?
Massage.
You know, and it's funny because I just said, if I ever come to your house in Florida, see, I think you live in Florida because that's where you write. That's not where you live.
My Wisconsin is a place, as I said, just a stone's throw from the Sanibel Bridge. I'll let her know you're coming. She'll be so surprised.
Absolutely. Okay, ladies. So you guys put your questions in here, and Annie, when we end this, she's going to go over there and she'll answer anything that we didn't get answered here this evening. And she will comment, and I appreciate you all coming. Before we go, though, I have a little bit of an announcement that makes me kind of sad. I love these live streams, and I would do them forever and ever and ever, and I plan to. In fact, I invested in this new StreamYard software because it works so much better than Zoom. But we got a notice a couple of weeks ago that Facebook is deprecating the API. Now, don't ask me what that means, but what it essentially does is it's going to eliminate the ability for us to live stream into groups. We can live stream into pages. We can live stream onto YouTube, but we're not going to be able to live stream into Facebook groups unless they announce some new something that allows us to do that. So I'm just giving you guys a heads up that we're going to be working around that some way. I did see that there was a workaround. It's really technical. And for anyone who knows me, I'm not technical. So whether I'm going to be able to figure out just how to do that. Now, there's been a couple of suggestions. I know that some of the authors are going to record the videos live and then just post them in the Facebook group. So I don't know how we're going to do that. I'm going to be probably waiting to see how it all kind of works out, but it's next week. It's the 22nd when it's gone, and we won't be able to do this anymore. I mean, it's just so easy now. We take Zoom or we take StreamYard and we simply hit go live, and it's connected, in the back end, and it connects, and it's so beautiful. Now, Facebook has a live feature that we'll be able to use, but it's not as nice as this. And it's a little more clunky to bring on a guest and things. And I've used it before. That's how I started. So we might just have to do that. B said she loves the live, and I do too. You guys, Facebook is can be so awful sometimes. I mean, I love my Facebook because it allows me to stay in touch with everybody, and we're blessed with Facebook, but oh my gosh. And it's a little bit like Amazon. Sometimes Amazon can do some funky things that you go, wow, what are they thinking? But, again, where would we be without Amazon and getting all our books and such? But before we go to, I would like to tell you all that the second book of my Teton Mountain series comes out next week. It's available now on my direct store. So for those of you who know how to get there, it's kellycoatesgilbertbooks.com, and it's available now. So you can go get it if you want to a little early. And then next Thursday, it releases on all the retailers, and you can get it there, or you can pre-order. So for those of you who started this series with me, this is going to be Reva Nygaard's story. And it's funny because it has a plot line that has to do with fostering children. And so it was interesting for me to hear Annie tell her story and how she went into the foster system at age 6 and how that was her early journey. So people who foster wear special crowns in heaven, in my opinion.
Sure.
Love on children. I mean, you can't beat that. I'm sure there's some exceptions to that, but by far and large, we have some people in church, and that's why I picked up on that. We have some people in church who started fostering, and they were telling their story and the heartbreak of fostering for a whole year and then having to give the baby back. So that's tough. And they do it again and again and again because it's what's best for the baby. So,
right.
And then someone said, Kelly saw that I need to read the first one. You do. It's a good series. So I can't say enough about it. I'm sure enjoying writing it. And I am so appreciative that Annie joined us here tonight. So appreciative.
Oh, great fun. Thank you so much for inviting me.
And good luck to everyone about winning that very first book. So, and then for those of you who are not in my Gilbert Girls group yet, we started that about 6 months ago. I had done primarily everything here, but that group is different in that I keep it very private. And so I can be a little more open. I used to work for the Justice Department, and there are some security issues with me, so I don't disclose a lot in public. But in Gilbert Girls, I do. And we talk, and we've had pajama parties in there, and we've had a lot of fun. So for those of you who are not in Gilbert Girls, go get in there. And then Annie said she's going to be opening a reader group very soon. So watch for that as well. Okay.
Great.
Good night, everyone. Thank you for coming. Oh, somebody said their daughter and son-in-law fostered. Good job.
Beautiful.
Tell them that we just think that they're wonderful for doing that. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.